optics cocking and being a cock to the Hitlerites. Ryan Falk made a video in early 2017, about how the wignats and Hitlerites that accuse you as a hereditarian who is against Hitlerism, that you are just an optics cock. And this optics cocklery is bad, and you must have to go full Hitlerite. You have to go full Nazi and full KKK, full Neo-Confederacy, otherwise you're a cock and you're a Jewish puppet and whatever. And Ryan Falk proposed an alternative hypothesis, as his name says, that actually you're cocking out to the Nazis. And we'll take a look at some historical examples of people and movements cocking out to the Nazis. Historically, let's say fascist Italy. Italy was not ready. It was not yet industrialized enough to enter a large-scale war. The British and French empires offered it concessions in Libya and some further colonial territory around Ethiopia if they just stayed neutral. They didn't even require Italy to join the alliance. They just wanted them to stay neutral. Zoomer historian actually also documented this. And Italy said no, and what did Italy get? Italy got an unprepared army heading for war. They got their ass kicked in Greece. They got their soldiers frozen to death in Russia, thrown into prison camps. They got a civil war after 1943 when the king ousted Mussolini. The fascist council voted him out. They had a civil war between the Italian state and the Italian Social Republic. Huge devastation, getting bombed, turning into a battlefield, a bunch of ruins, Rome shelled. Nice stuff like that. Slavic collaborators, the Ukrainian nationalists, Bandera, for example. He tried to work out some compromise with them, but he was not radical enough for them. He didn't want to endorse anti-Semitism, and so he was thrown into the Auschwitz-Birkenau camp, if I remember correctly. Slovaks and the Czech collaborators, especially the Slovak Republic, under the Generalplanos, these Slavic peoples would have deported to Siberia. So yeah, that's how the wignats repay you for your friendship. And let's take the modern historical examples. The Charlottesville thing, right? The thing that Jared Taylor and Ryan Falk and Sean Last were criticized, Crimea was criticized, you didn't come to Charlottesville. What did they achieve there? I think that there were certainly some intelligent hereditarians that fell for that trap. And, what they got was, they got some wignats, they got Shimpouty, they yelled race war, gas the K-words now, they got doxxed, they got a Jake Fields guy plowing into a crowd of counter-protesters and, killing a bunch of people, initiating a 4 or 5 year court process, was prosecuted in 2023, the last of them I saw. Huge settlements, bankruptcies, and let's say they win. Let's say the Hitlerites win. Let's say the Nazis win. What do we get? What do we get as policies? Let's look at the historical Nazi policies. We see rigged elections. Only the Führer's party is allowed to set up shop. Only the Führer's party is allowed to run for elections. Wow, super convenient. The Führer principle, you can't criticize the leader. So even if you had won under the fucking Nazi flag, what you would have gotten is tyranny, and you would have gotten some coked up Richard Spencer and obese morphined up Matthew Heimbach dictating policy and fucking their own mother-in-law. So I do not think that it is worthwhile to cock out to the Hitlerites again. Kick the Hitlerites out. You don't need them. They're pseudo-scientific. Again, they banned IQ. And they did some weird history trivia, which is very bad for doing general cognitive intelligence and psychometric tests. They sabotage science, they fake elections, and they worship one leader dude. That is not something that you want in your movement. That is not something that most British people want in a country. The British tradition of liberalism and human rights and councils, city councils and parliament, is that you don't just worship the king like the French absolutist monarch. You have checks and balances. The people decide. The guy can't just spend the entire state budget on his coke habit. If you look at Hitler, look at his drug habit, his doctors prescribed him all sorts of weird shit like coke and morphine and whatever, the list is down below. And I don't think you want this. Don't take this thing. When some Nazis come to your party meeting, says, we need to do more national socialism. We need to worship Hitler. We need to now kick them out. It is not worth your time. They're just gonna ruin your movement, and even if they win, they're just gonna ruin your country.